Hi everyone, this is Emily. I need to take a moment before the show to tell you about mine and Bernie's latest offering, the Summer 2024 Sprint Cohort for Community Builders. After years of virtually co-working together as small business operators, Bernie and I have been through it all. If you've ever felt overcommitted, unsupported, or like you're losing opportunities because you just can't seem to get ahead, then you'll know the kind of challenges we're talking about. It took years of self-examination, trial and error, hundreds of business and productivity books between us, and one Scrum Master certificate for us to finally come up with something that works to overcome our workflow issues and get the work done. We have created a series of small group virtual events hosted twice monthly to give you the support you need. Think of it like therapy sessions for your workflow. We will help you iron out the wrinkles in your process, isolate issues that keep tripping you up, help you build up your community, and guide you through designing a personal work system that is as unique to you as your fingerprint and can grow and change with you. Plus, it's intentionally priced as the same cost as an average co-working desk so that it's as accessible as possible. If you're ready to feel like you're on top of everything, check out the link in the show notes, which leads to the sign-up page. And now, here's a word from our sponsor.
Hi, this is Francesca from Virtual Headquarters here. We support co-working spaces throughout the UK and in Europe soon by promoting virtual office revenue for them. Not only that, but we offer to promote your co-working and your meeting room spaces to all of our clients throughout the UK. And the best bit is, we don't take any brokerage cuts. If you check out the show notes, there's a link to how our virtual office partnership works. And if you want to arrange a call with me, I'd be happy to discuss everything and talk you through the process. I hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.
Typical dignity.
Let's laugh. Anyway, I'm laughing. I'm supposed to be all grown up at the beginning here. So, hello, folks, and welcome to this week's episode. Oh, we do it every 2 weeks now, which I'm really excited about, and it's going really well. It's actually, don't tell kids, it's easier to do it more often than it is to do it less. Who would have known? So, it's the Co-working Values podcast, and in the luxury studio from where are you in the world?
Kent, actually. Visiting.
Kent, the Garden of England. It's
Yes.
Claire Carpenter. So, Claire Carpenter, what are you known for, and what would you like to be known for these days?
Oh, you told me that I am an OG of co-working, and I had to look up what OG was. So I'm an original gangster of co-working. I'm one of the pioneers of co-working in Europe. And what I'd like to be known for now is being a bloody marvellous coach and a van lifer, traveller, adventurer, climber.
So just to qualify the OG co-working thing, was it like, because it is actually, like about 100 years ago when you opened that space. What year was it?
Physically opened the space in 2007, conceived of the idea back in about 2003, started working actively on the idea and constituting in 2005.
That, like, nowadays that's a long time,
Ancient.
isn't it?
It's been 20 years of my life. It makes me feel very old. And I'm not. I'm 50.
You're not old.
I know I'm 50 now.
Look, this is a co-working podcast, Claire. We can't get into the midlife crisis stuff here. But anyway, what so as you've been jetting around, like we were looking at your Instagram, became it's like so annoying. Vans, climbing, jetting around Europe, sunbathe. Did you do any sunbathing?
I haven't seen any sun since I was in Morocco in March.
No.
It's been a shite spring and summer so far in the UK, but Morocco was wonderful.
So I know, which is why we're here. You went to co-work in Spain and you went to GC Manchester. And I was really delighted that GC in Manchester didn't happen in London. It was like outside. It's so hard to do things outside of London that are to do with co-working. So I'm delighted Emily took it there. So what are the 5 things? Let's pretend. Let's stop pretending we're doing this off the cuff. What are the 5 things you learned from those 2 conferences? Because they're really well done. And what would you, if we're sitting in a bar and I said, so what was all that about, love? What was it all about? Number 1.
Well, I did prepare, and I think, and I was trying to reflect on things that apply to both conferences and actually all conferences, really, all gatherings, and it's applicable to what we deliver within our co-working hubs too. So my first reflection. I think number one is about learning styles and what makes humans comfortable. And if you can get the learning styles, if you can speak to a range of learning styles, we have different types of learning style. You and me, Bernie, we've got ants in our pants, don't like to sit down for too long. Other people need detail. Some people, yeah. So if you can ensure that you're covering different bases with the learning styles and make humans feel comfortable, and that means like how people gather, how you hold the gathering. A large conference is well, for me, large conferences don't really do it because you can't connect with others. You can't connect with the speakers, the panelists. You can't connect with other attendees if it's too big. So both those conferences were a very human-sized conference, not too big, not too small. They weren't in a room with 12 people for any means. So I think learning styles and what makes humans, being a size that makes humans feel comfortable, is going to make or break your conference, quite simply. It's about the quality of who's in the room, not the quantity of who is in the room. And we should never worry about making any kind of learning event too small, because actually good quality learning takes place when people have interactions, can see the eyes of the presenters, engage with them over the coffee break, long coffee breaks. What do humans need? We're biological creatures. We need long coffee breaks. We need decent food. We need refreshments. We need water. We need time to get from one thing to another and to get distracted in between. So think about what makes humans comfortable. Think about their learning styles, and that will make or break your conference.
I really agree with that. I just don't go to big conferences anymore because I find it exhausting. Even if like David Bowie, Prince, and Zaza Gabor were on stage, I'd have
You'd
to
go.
think
Come
about
on,
how am
you'd
I
go.
going to go to the I'd
You'd
go,
get FOMO and you'd go. But
it is. I mean, there's there's a bit in the Brené Brown book where she talks about Liverpool are playing in Australia, and there's all these Liverpool fans in Australia, and they all start singing the "You'll Never Walk Alone" song.
Yeah.
And there's this and her point is there's this thing about a load of people getting together. So there's definitely euphoria there, and both you and I have, spent more than enough time jumping up and down to Carl Cox and things like that. So there's that. But nowadays I can't be doing all that. I need that. When you said about you need to be able to see people in the eyes, that is really important.
Yeah, it's about engagement, isn't it? And the venue, the type of venue that you go to, where it's located, how easy it is to get to, all of that lot. Conference organisers normally think about that. But actually the layouts of the room and how far they are away from the break areas, all of these things matter. It's that feeling like you've entered, it's a mini conference. I mean, a mini festival, isn't it? It's not Glastonbury. It's not like vast acres where you're never going to see your friends again if you leave their side. It's got to be human. It's got to be human. But that's maybe just me. But yeah,
no, it's me too. So there's at least two of us.
There's at least two of us in the room.
I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to my friend Julius, who I've been learning about this stuff off from. We met in 2008, and he's always basically says everything you just said. The event experience has to be way more connected because, and I love saying this in a very snarky way, is that panel could have been a blog post, or that blog post could have been a tweet. If you can watch it in a TED talk, you don't need to
travel
you don't
for
need
days
to go to
on
the
end,
conference. So,
spend a shitload of money going on a hotel and travel fees and it's got to be worth the human connection time, that time away from your business to connect with other people. And the learning styles, just to come back to those learning styles, it's really important to think about the different types of learning styles there are, and there's loads of information on the web about learning styles.
Let's go to number 2.
Okay, number two. Number 2 is that hospitality and community is our game, and co-working conferences should demonstrate and live these values. So a good co-working conference should be incredibly hospitable, generate community, and then step back to be about humans and their comfort, their bio needs, and their learning styles. But we should demonstrate hospitality and community, and both those conferences did in spades.
The food in Spain is amazing. Like,
Food in Spain.
that's
food in Manchester was phenomenal. I was gobsmacked.
I saw Thilo's photos of it, and the fact he drew attention to the food, because there's a Neil Usher who's
Sorry,
been
Bernie,
on this
but
podcast.
I'm just going to interrupt you. Food is the number one thing that the particularly British will complain about. If they didn't like a learning event, they won't tell you that. They'll tell you that the food wasn't good. So if you, as a conference organizer or a learning event organizer, if you nail the food, then people have got far less to moan about. They generally don't like to moan about, well, I didn't learn that much. I was on my phone a lot. But get the food right, everyone's happy.
Don't skimp on the food.
No.
I've been to things where people have skimped on the food, and it's like rubbing salt in the wound. Going back to your, because what you said at the beginning there sounded a kind of practice what you preach thing, and Neil Usher, who is a friend of ours and talks a lot about, we met live blogging at an event in like 2011, and he was at this. He wrote this really you'll love him. He loves like punk music and writes a lot about the workplace. And he wrote this live blog saying, "Isn't it ironic? We're packed in a room with all workplace practitioners and HR managers. We're packed in a room with no natural light, talking about well-being in the workplace, and then there's shit muffins and mediocre coffee at the back of the room, and we're talking about how to treat human beings to get the best out of them." So there's a disconnect there.
And walk your talk. Yeah,
exactly. Number three.
So the co-working scene now is huge. It's diverse, it's very established, but it is still growing and it's still diversifying. So as someone who's been around thinking about, how do you create a resource hub, a shared resource hub for social impact leaders? That was my thing. And what did that turn into? And seeing the emergence of co-working as a movement, and then that turning into an industry, and then that diversification of that industry. It's really exciting to see the big players, and really wonderful to see the infinite variety of small players out there, because although size matters in terms of our business model and in terms of like how lucrative we might be, actually it doesn't matter if you've got 10,000 square feet, 100,000 square feet, or 1,000 square feet in terms of the impact that you can have and the value on people's lives. So what you do with that space, the different types of customers that you serve, the different types of services that you provide, is going to be affected by the scale. But the fact that the scene is still growing, there's so many more placemakers, people adopting the co-working model, not just flex workspace, but actually realizing that building community, ensuring that you're trying to build in learning, networking, connecting events, the fundamentals of bringing people together in more than a coffee shop. You can't put a coffee shop in a workplace and just go, oh, there's co-working. It's not co-working. Anyway, the scene is big, it's growing, and diversifying, and I just find that really fascinating, particularly after the last few years with the COVID escalation of things. It's been a rough ride for people, but we're coming out stronger. There's more and more aggregators and support services that we could choose from. I met a guy actually, and we talked about tech tax, technology tax for co-working spaces. Like, how many tech tools do you need to run a co-working space? I think it obviously depends on the size of the business, but yeah, it's all there. It's growing. It's not going away. People need places. That's what's important.
What was, if you were thinking of where do you think co-working is in its years? Is it a teenager, or if it was an iPhone, is it on like iPhone 12, or iPhone 15 or like
Bear
is
in
it?
mind, I'm probably on iPhone 8, so let's just.
Yeah.
My technology is always behind. Where is it? I think.
Is it
Well,
like a sort of disgruntled 12-year-old or a?
no. It's definitely more mature than that. I personally think that we're in our 20s, but then it's been 20 years for me, so I've got perspective. No, if I look back at life, in your 20s, you know a lot about who you are and what matters to you, but you're grabbing opportunities that are out there.
That's
Good
so.
question.
I love the way you frame that.
Oh, yeah. Get out there, people. Make it happen.
I remember
Yeah.
back in the old days, there was a brief moment about 2013, 2014 where I
Yeah.
knew all the co-working spaces in London.
Yeah.
And well, actually, let me say, like all the co-working spaces in London that were on Twitter. And then
Okay.
it seemed between like 2013 and 2015, like, and not just because WeWork arrived and like pissed all over the place, but like the just this like
Oof.
I read somewhere like Wired said like about that time a co-working space opens like every 3 days in London or something like that. I don't know. I never believe these things. When people say the market will be worth 100 billion by 2027, what does that mean? But it really kind of went around that time.
It did.
That was,
Yeah.
and I measure these things by which co-working Europe I was at, and so that was Milan, and that was sort of
Your ability to remember backwards is far greater than mine.
Yeah. And what was it? The other thing I meant to ask, can you explain placemaking? Because
yeah.
people use that, and I think it's like, I know what it means because we spent a lot of time together, but I think people kind of throw it out there and go, I'm a placemaker. And it's like, so what do you mean like by that? And I'm like,
Oh, well, I'm delighted that you think people use it, because it's a term I've been using for a long time, because I think we create habitats, not just a habitat that people come to, but a destination. So placemaking is part of that physical, creating a physical space, a physical space and place. They're two different things. You create place within space. But it's also about creating a destination. It's creating a known entity. And it can be also bigger than that. It's about helping, create a destination, an attraction point for for instance, a town or a city or an area of a city. So placemaking is, I suppose, conceptual. We need to see ourselves beyond the physical location that we're bringing people into, and how we connect with the local entrepreneurial support ecosystem, small businesses who might provide the catering. How do we connect into the other businesses around us that would physically support our customers and support us? And I think that's all part of placemaking. It's layers and layers and layers. It's not just create a physical co-working hub. It's that physical co-working hub's place within the wider ecosystem it operates from. So we are placemakers.
That's the bit. All the localness that's come after COVID is I'm loving it. I think we're in this I hope and want to believe that we're in this like golden age of community co-working, and it seems to be, and there's bigger brands doing stuff, and there's little smaller micro and small businesses. I like to say I was talking about it being independent, and Gareth from Town Square said I don't like independent, we need to be collaborative. So I'm sort of hung up on the word indie, which I loved for so long. So
well, but if we think of connections and the World Wide Web, there's lots of independent points within a connection. So that's again part of the ecosystem. And being a placemaker who attends conferences is joining up my ecosystem. Does that make sense?
just like it. I'm scared to say this because I sound like one of those annoying people on the podcast. It's all about connection, Claire. It is like
it is. That's what we do for others, isn't it? It's what we're doing for our customers, is creating a place where they can have connection, because that's what human beings need. But we as placemakers need connection. So my fourth takeaway, I'll jump into that, was that conferences are an excellent way to connect with our peers. We can learn from them. We can discuss our woes. We can bask in our collective light and feel like we're part of something bigger. People come to a co-working hub to feel less alone and more connected and part of something bigger. And a co-working conference is a place that us as placemakers can do that ourselves.
It's like a safe space for geeking out on these things.
Yeah.
That's a reoccurring theme with the London Co-working Assembly, is like making people get together, and it's taken a long time, but those London Co-working Assembly events are supposed to feel like a nice little coffee morning, not an event. And obviously they are an event, but is when people get in a room and all the so much effort, not just from me, but people like Kofi and Lucy and all, so many people I'm not going to forget to mention now, but they all get people to get together. And so that is we want people to arrive in the room already connected, whereas even like only as 10 years ago, you'd go to an event and spend the first half of the morning, getting orientated and warming up. And now we want people to arrive already knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then that comes back to how old is this industry? What age and stage are we in? You're at a point in life where when you go to a party, you actually already have friends in the room. You're not trying to make friends in the room. When you're in your very early 20s, whatever, you go to a party and it's very intimidating because you don't know anybody. And it's nice to have some friends. But just like a co-working hub must remember to constantly be welcoming and including the newest members in the gang who come into the space, so must the co-working industry peers be welcoming and supportive of new entrants into the arena. One of the nice, I suppose my fifth area of learning was that there is always things to learn. There's always new people to meet. There's always a new perspective or an enhancement or a deepening of your knowledge in some way if you look for it at a conference. So, our place going to a conference is a water cooler moment. It's a chance of serendipity for us, but we must bring in and welcome and support and nurture and develop the new talent that's coming in, and it is definitely coming in spades. People are leaving other industries and coming into ours, and that's great. As the more older and established people in the room, it's our job to welcome and connect and educate and learn from the younger people in the room, because they've got stuff to learn. And I don't mean young as in like maybe they're physically younger than I am. I just mean that they're newer entrants into the industry, because people are coming into the industry from all sorts of sectors now, whether it's from finance or hospitality. There's different ways that people get in as both the sort of leader developers as well as the manager hosts, all sorts of ways. Let's learn from each other to develop that network.
There's so many people say, I can't go to that conference, or I can't go to that thing. I'm not a real co-working space. And I call it co-working imposter syndrome, just to be like silly, but there are, and it's not just like one or two people have said this. Like I've had like 25 people say, oh, is it all right to come? I'm not a real co-working space. Like, mate, you like started a business. Like you underestimate how much it takes to even like set up a bank account, register it, get a building, sort out the chairs, get people in
enormous.
there. Yeah. Like at what point, where's your validation point of, I'm now a proper co-working space? Like people are giving you money, and that's an achievement in itself. So I think it's really important to make a massive thing, massive, people who have been around a long time, to make a massive effort to welcome people in. And I'm surprised at the people who say, oh, I'm not a real co-working space, because I'm in awe of them,
I suppose, that I enjoy climbing, and that's a community that I've been developing and connected to for decades, but I've been getting back into it. And I went to Morocco in March on a climbers club meet, and there's all these old school climbers. They've done mental things all over the world. They've written guidebooks. They've climbed the Eiger or whatever. They've done really hardcore things, and I'm like, oh, am I a climber in relation to these people? They're climbers. They're the hardcore. So I could have imposter syndrome both in the co-working world and in the climbing world. But really, that's just insecurity and isn't necessary, because a good community, whatever community of interest, is welcoming of new entrants and supports new entrants, and recognizes that it's all about good people. Let's keep good people, whatever community that we're in.
That's beautiful. Where can we find you online and connect with you? And can you say a little bit about, because when people say coach, that could mean anything from like coaching hockey to diet and wellness. Like who, after everything you've done, who are the best people to like get in touch with you?
So I love helping people work towards, understand their goals and their dreams, and work towards that. So that's what I recognise over all the years of helping change makers make their dreams happen. So I really love that. You can find me on clairecarpentercoaching.com, and I think that my audience type are placemakers, social impact leaders, and entrepreneurs who are looking for executive or business type coaching. But I actually work with individuals who are looking to make transition, looking to change things in their life, or go through maybe they're going through some tricky stages. And good coaching is really helping people have thinking space, critical thinking, exploratory thinking, reflecting on what's happening in their life, where they want to go, where they are now, and how they might get there, and have accountability. So thinking is not the same as mentoring, which is very much I've been there, I've got the t-shirt, I've done it, let me tell you how I did it. And we can always go into there if that's appropriate and necessary and desired. But coaching is really helping an individual have better faculty and engagement with where they are and where they want to go. It's future focused rather than historic. Let's go to the depth of my childhood. I don't do that.
It's really important. I always think like because I've been both of these people, like sitting on the sofa watching Netflix and eating Doritos, people that don't have a coach, people who are like pushing themselves and winning the 100-meter race at the Olympics, have lots of coaches. So that's
it's a brilliant
every
faculty.
time.
Brilliant faculty. I've had it in my professional life, and it's been incredibly supportive to me. But it is all about the relationship with the coach. That's the number one efficacy, is, do you connect with that coach? Do you want to be accountable to them? And that's personality type. Do you find the right person for you? Just like with a counselor, is it the right person? But you can try it out. You can try lots of coaches out for free, including me.
That's another really important thing, because just because someone coaches astronauts and Warren Buffett doesn't mean they're going to be the right person for you. So we'll put a link in the show notes to all of those things, and we'll put a link into your Instagram, because Claire really does like wander around Europe in a van. Can you say why the van's called Dignity? Because then I can put a link to the song in the show notes, and that's why I'm asking you.
We love the song. So Bernie and I are of a certain generation, and Deacon Blue were a Scottish band who were big in the 80s, and there weren't as many bands or albums out then, and it was one of those albums that you just played to death. Deacon Blues, I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, one of their songs is called Dignity, and it is about a guy who worked for the council for 20 years, who saved up all his money and had pieces, which are sandwiches, a Scottish word for sandwiches. Had his pieces every day, got teased by local kids, but he was nice, and he saved up his money to buy a ship, a little boat, so he could sail up the west coast of Scotland while other people were working, and he would be off having his holidays, relaxing. And that was his goal. That was what he was focused towards. And I just love that sentiment. It's a beautiful song, very well written.
It is.
Very It's beautiful. So I've saved up all my money and I've built a ship called Dignity, a spaceship, and she's lovely. It's one of my, I love designing spaces. I'm good at designing spaces, and I love the van that I've had built for me by a professional, not by me, but I'm the pro that designed it. He delivered, a guy called Chris delivered it, and it's just fabulous. It makes traveling so easy, and I'm going to have many, many adventurous times by exploring in there.
Gorgeous.
And go visiting co-working hubs on my travels, as long as they're near decent mountains and rock.
Like rock as in... Or
as in hard stuff, the physical form.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much for your time and attention today, ladies and gentlemen. We will knock it off there. Say goodbye, Claire.
Goodbye, Bernie. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.